Call the meeting to order. All humanoids are in the room, so we don't have to go through roll call votes. I will take any motion in reference to the April 1st minute.
Make a motion to accept them as they were sent out.
Second.
Any corrections, additions, or deletions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstained because I wasn't here.
Okay, Norton, you'll abstain because you weren't here either. Is that helpful?
Yes. thank you.
Great. Okay, first thing we're gonna go over is, we don't have any minutes, but they're gonna present. There are two documents. I don't see the Paul document, but I see the summation done by the committee and Mr. Aberdale, and I'm gonna let Alana do the presentation because she was the one who spearheaded.
Great, I think that, the Paul notes got sent out via email if anybody wants to look back at them, but this is a proposed, schedule, that is coming to the committee here as a recommendation to go to the select board. That is my understanding. Is that correct?
Correct. We are gonna recommend to the select board what we would like them to do.
So, we spent quite a lot of time discussing the various, tiers of use that currently exist at, help me guys, the gazebo, Housatonic, and the multi-use field at Olympian Meadows. And this is what we came up with, different, so basically, everyone pays a $25 application fee. It's basically to cover the administrative work involved of our administrative staff in scheduling the calendar for those parks. And then depending on who is using the parks, there are different levels of fees. So we can go through them if it's helpful. The distinction is whether or not it is a private individual or an organization, and whether or not the organization has paid employees or, is a nonprofit and has no paid employees versus an organization that is exchanging money and or pays their employees. Does that make sense? Any questions so far?
I was at the meeting, so it makes sense to me. I'm looking at the people who weren't there to see if it makes sense
Me
to
too.
them.
Yes, me too. Good.
Mhm.
So, one thing just to highlight on here in this schedule is that everywhere should be listed that these levels of fees are at the discretion of the Parks Commission to assess a fee based on in-kind services. So one of the examples that we use is like Little League that does many hours of service to our community. The idea is that we could assess zero fee because they are using because their use is in exchange for their service to the community. Make sense?
So do I have that covered here, where all that superscript 1 is? Down below, it says, based on the level of public service, the commissioner may assess a fee up to $1,500. Does that cover what?
Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
Just so everybody understands that the reason that threshold is there is we didn't want to box ourselves into a corner if we needed to at some junction. That's why may seem extravagant, but it's,
And
we used, what we used was what we were getting from Berkshire Grown for their use of the facility. Okay, Julie, go ahead.
I do have a question between the private individual and for profit. So for the private individual, the hourly use fee would be $50 after 1 hour. For every hour after 1 hour, it would be $50 or just the entire?
no, I think that was a fee that was just for an event. For example, if somebody was doing something that maybe was 2 or 3 hours, that's not for the cost to the town, there's not a big change.
That's a
from
per
that.
event fee, not a per hour fee.
Got it, okay. And for the for-profit, it is an hourly fee up to $250 where there would be assessed a daily fee.
Yep.
Okay. And after how many hours would that be considered daily?
Well, I mean, 5 hours would be sort of like the math. But I think, again, up to our discretion, I think is the idea. And we did similarly that per season fee, leaving a lot of room for discussion dependent on who is coming to us and what they're offering, whether or not it should be assessed on a daily or, even if it's not a sports team season, we're saying like, you can do this for this duration.
I just think the for-profit is going to ask a question, at what point are we going to be charged the daily fee?
Yeah, great. Do you want to,
You're gonna hone that down a little bit, Julie?
language?
Also, I think we could put some units behind that where it says hourly.
Hourly up to,
$50 per hour,
Uh-huh.
and then daily, $250 per day. So that basically tells you if you're gonna be more than 5 hours. you're
more
gonna
than
be-
that, okay.
That'd be great.
So I made that.
Will you amend that, sir? Thank you.
And Julie, also for the top one, right?
Mhm,
The
yeah,
very, this,
Per event.
yeah.
per event, yeah.
Guess my one, it's an obvious question, but I better ask. For, let's say the gazebo, if it's a town event, there's no application charge and it's just us giving permission. Okay,
That is correct.
just want to make sure.
All right, it's important that you ask those questions.
Yeah.
Steve. We're very happy that you're paying attention.
Okay, quite early in the meeting, yeah.
Any other yes, Mr. Norton?
So, I know we do the summer series that Mr. Rogers does, the music, and so does that? What does that mean? That doesn't count as
It's a what? It's town functions.
the town function?
Yeah.
Right, the town, so that isn't anything that, all right, then my only other question is that, at what point is there a dividing line where the parks, the parks are open to everyone in the town?
Correct.
And,
It's open to anybody who walks in there.
right.
They don't
well,
have a town stamp saying, I live in GB.
Right, so, if you wanna bring your grandkids down to kick a ball around or anything like that, none of those types of activities come in.
I think the assumption here is the place where we would have this would be closed except for this event. For instance, a Little League. You can't, in the middle of a Little League game, you can't say, I'm a Great Barrington resident, I'm gonna go in and use the field.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
no, I understand.
yeah, I think that's, it's a good question, but I think the assumption is that you're not gonna be able to use Giggle Park, because we don't close Giggle Park.
That's
We,
right.
we've always said that's a town park, but and we don't close Housatonic, so,
So this is basically for events that are gonna be.
Absolutely.
yeah.
approved.
This is
And then
based
they get
on
permission to have that,
somebody
so-
marketing an event,
right,
okay?
and so, such as Little League, so then that is reserved for them. That, I can't go out and throw frisbee
Right.
in the middle of the game.
Exactly.
But the idea is also that eventually we will have a calendar that is able to mark that this is being used, and that someone else who wants to use the field would be able to see that we've already designated
Days.
Olympian Meadows to such and such an event on such and such a day, because they've come through this process and it's on the interactive calendar.
Yeah, and the interactive calendar is this thing that sits over here. And we are ever hopeful that this will get to, in the next, I'm saying 12 months, I wanna see this up and flying, so anybody could say, I can say, go to this link and see what's there. If you wanna bring your kids over for a birthday party and they're gonna throw a frisbee around, have a blast. I don't wanna legislate. I certainly wanna legislate people bringing a camp of 65 kids and all this other stuff and not enough staff and all this other jazz. So that's what we're trying to get a grip on. Yes, Joe.
One of the examples that we talked about was, like, for example, you bring 5 of your family members and decide to have a birthday party at the gazebo. But meanwhile, the Parks Commission already gave permission to someone else and they show up an hour later. They have the right to the gazebo and you're gonna have to move because you didn't go and get formal approval.
So formal approval, but that's what the fee structure is around, getting formal approval, which is basically reserving the space for their events.
Yep,
Joe, do you want to talk for a second where the money goes to? Because we don't have a revolving fund,
yeah, we do.
We do.
do we?
Oh, yeah.
So will it go into the revolving fund? Okay, good.
So this town meeting, there was a revolving fund, it just wasn't activated.
Right.
But it was activated this last town meeting, so come July 1.
So we'll be able to put it in,
And take it out.
and we could take it out ourselves without going back to town meeting.
Correct. It's like a savings account for Park and Rec,
Yeah.
which is perfect. We want to do something a little special or whatever, it's there. But only under the guise, GUISE, of the commission saying, yeah, this is a good idea.
So I just have one more thing to.
You promise?
A scenario.
Okay,
Well, no, I lied.
I had someone make sure.
So when we did the townwide, the cleanup, the Housatonic, the beautiful and the Housatonic Improvement Committee kind of organized the Housatonic version of that, right?
Mhm.
And then we, we gathered to distribute the garbage bags, and at the end of it, we had a cookout.
Mhm.
And, I wasn't sure, and now Eric said he got permission to do that, and I was wondering why, if something like that, we did a community event, why couldn't that be just something we could just do and have a cookout to get, that we got the equipment there? I mean, why is that something that has to get permitted?
So what would have happened, Tom, if a family of 10 decided to have a birthday party there at that time?
Right.
And you couldn't use the space was already being used.
Well,
That would be the reason.
right.
I
Well,
will
I'm saying,
tell you-
would we need to do that? Because people came in and we said, sure, have some fruit, have some hot dogs.
Eric called me and said, do you think that you need, I said, I don't think you have to go through the hoops for the Housatonic the Beautiful. Cause it was off calendar, everything else, and I think anything that's community-based like that is a no-brainer, it's sort of like what goes on here.
And it's not closing the park.
No, you're not
Right, we
close,
didn't close the park at all.
With to Steve's point, if some family got there a half an hour before they started using the grill, neither of them have official permission.
I'm gonna tell you something, that would be a very interesting situation, and I would like to see the negotiation on the grill.
Yeah, I
Call
could
me.
see, if two people, if we both wanted to use the grill at the same time, I mean, I don't see how that would be
That is
a
a
conflict.
first world problem we got,
Yeah.
girl, boys.
It just makes sense if you plan it ahead of time,
Let us
whether
know.
it's Housatonic or whatever, just come to us. If it's a last minute thing and you do it, no one's gonna
The
stop
other
you.
thing is that the chair and the town manager can consider something off calendar if need be and give permission for it. If the timing doesn't work out. I think Mark and I have done that 3 or 4 times over the last couple of years, only when we needed to, so it wasn't really a big deal. So that would, and that was the case. I think.
Well, then part of the thing is that event was, it was volunteer. We're just trying to get people to become involved, and until the day of the cleanup, we had.
No harm, no foul.
No idea who was even gonna show up.
Worked out great.
So we just wanna encourage stuff like
All right,
that.
I would take a motion on this with the amendments that Mr. Aberdale said he was gonna put in. Can you review what the 2 things you're gonna change on this sheet?
So I think where it says private individual does not charge for services, you see a slash, there's something else that's there, I think it might be about employees. But, so that's one change I'll make. The other one is, along that same line to the right, it says $50 per event for, a user fee. Down below under for profit, it's gonna say $50 an hour and $2.50 a day. And under general notes, of the C, town event, no fees, parks permission only.
Great.
Motion to approve as amended.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any abstentions? Any rejections? Unanimous. That's wonderful. I'll be glad to do that. You'll have your secretary drafted that.
Yeah.
Out of it. Okay, dogs in the parks. So this situation, I was also just down at Olympia Meadows. We have now locked all the baseball fields at Olympia Meadows because people just did not get the idea that you don't take your dog down, run it in the baseball field, let them defecate and then not pick it up. So in order to accommodate that, we have now had to lock the fields. However, I will tell you, I was down today for another reason, which I'll discuss in committee speak. There were 2 or 3 people also who are very upset about the speed with which people go up and down that street. There's no marking, there's no speed limit, there's no nothing. They evidently have been in touch with Chief Storty and had gotten no response, so I'm just bringing that up here, Joe. I don't know if there's something we can do to. Because there are dogs and kids going, I mean, people fly down there, they really do.
You know, who the worst is.
But the interesting thing, there were 4 people down there running their dogs, not in the fields. They had frisbees and they all had poop bags. I was like, that's exactly how you wanna handle that. I could see them being able to run, and they all were over by all the bar. It's like, I don't wanna ban those people from doing that. And then the woman explained to me, she said, Karen, I see people running them on the trail and not picking up poop. So I think some signage and some other stuff, it just astounds me how people don't get it. Pick up your
And
dog poop and
take it with you.
and take it with you. I believe there's a,
That's a big, the little bags with the boot left on the trails. Well, the bag,
it's half a step.
it's,
Baby steps.
We need the receptacle. We need a receptacle down on that trail. I think that's something we could do that's got the bags and the place to put the,
There isn't one at the entrance to the track?
I don't know where they all are.
Yeah.
I don't-
We have 15 or 20 of them now.
I would like the interns at the high school, somebody to give me a schematic of where the poop stations are. We know where the little book stations are, but we don't know where the poop stations are.
There's dog bag stations, lots of places.
That's what I'm looking for. There's
But they
dog
don't
bags
have a
with,
place to deposit it.
yeah, there's a,
Part of the bag
it's
station.
part of the
Yeah.
bag station.
Yeah, underneath,
It's underneath.
yeah.
All right.
It's
I'm-
a DSR, dog shit receptacle.
I'm sure your people know, cause I empty them all the time.
Right, yeah, I just don't know myself.
Yeah.
There's one.
Could
Right.
we get an idea of where they are, sir? Could you ask them to let us know where they are in the next month or so?
When you start seeing their work on.
I'm ready. Please. Thank you, Joe.
I don't know if even like adding another receptacle would make such a difference. I mean, I think it's just a matter of like laziness sometimes. I've found
You think?
maybe,
And I'll-
maybe, but even with the receptacles, I mean, I find some dog bags under, you know, like on my lawn after the winter.
Isn't that?
So I put a little message out on the listserv saying free, you know, to whomever wants it, and whoever put it here. I mean, I don't understand.
Oh, I do. It's LAZINESS.
So I
So-
don't know what the
And
solution would be.
here's, well, I'll tell you what's gonna happen. So we had a situation where there was a person observed in a truck that parked their ass at Giggle Park, let their dog out, had a cigarette, let the dog poop in Giggle Park and took off. This person was observed by a town employee. The dog animal control officer was contacted, and now the policy is as follows. The town employee is giving a written affidavit to the dog officer. We were able to track the license plate and figure out who owned the dog. Not only did they own the dog, but the dog's not licensed. So this person's about to get a ticket for, I love it when justice works. Unlicensed dog, public defecation. I'm not sure quite what it was, but it's within that. It's like $150 fine. So.
Don't forget the smoking on town property.
Well, smoking on town property too. I'm hoping that we do a couple of these and people get snarly with it. And they start to whine about it, and then everybody knows about it, because we also had another situation of a gentleman. Big term, across from the church where it says, please don't mess with our landscaping. And the dog was taking a dump there also. I don't believe he picked up that effluvium either, so. The dog officer, the animal control officer is on it, and there is a policy and procedure. And I would like the word to go out, and I'd like the selectmen, please take a picture of a license plate, people letting their dogs defecate. And I don't know what else to do.
I hesitate to bring this up, but Great Barrington has a leash law.
Right.
So this is another layer of
Yep.
stuff that we may or may not, we may or may not wanna get.
Well, I'm
Well,
giving it to, I'm giving it to Shep, because the key is this guy was observed letting the dog run, letting the dog defecate in pub. So my theory is not licensed, not leashed, and let's pop them for $150 and see how long that lasts.
Sadly enough, a lot of times the dogs are leashed, they just don't pick it up,
Yes,
Which
I
is just-
understand.
yeah, which is just ridiculous.
How do you surveil, you know, like on River Trail, they have the bags, they leave them, and, you know, it's just.
How do you surveil on the trail?
Sorry.
Sorry, I think you need to write a poem.
Although this is parks, we've had a number of complaints over the years, people want us to close the cemeteries to dogs because of a few bad actors, and I get it,
Bad actor.
yes.
I mean, I think the, one solution may be in the future, it's some kind of dog run. You know, I was just in Falmouth the other day, there was a beautiful run,
Doesn't
in
mean they're
woods.
gonna come down
And,
here.
I thought, you know, this is the,
Here we go.
it's necessary.
They've looked a long time, they have, find a place. The other problem is people start to talk about spread of disease, not picking up after their own dog fights. And, we've had a couple locations and it ended up that neighbors didn't want it there, so
But
it's
there's
been
not
very
enough open
difficult.
space
Yeah.
For that.
Well, I started 15 years ago. Christine Ward and I started this a long time ago. And then there was a second group and then a third group. The other thing is, if you want to go see a dog run, go over to Egerman. They have a dog run. They have it segregated by large dog, big dog, small dog. Personally, I was a dog owner for many years. I have a difficult time living in this part of the world. Spending $15,000 or $20,000 on a dog run.
A lot of dogs, I mean.
I
feel like there are a
get
lot
it,
more
I
dogs
get it.
than when I first moved here.
Okay. So we have no answers, but Shep is on it. Okay? And if you observe anything, let us know. New business,
Part of the baseball field lock still?
Yeah.
So
They're locked with a combination lock.
so each coach knows how.
Yep. And they have to lock them up. I was just down there before I came here just to see, and they were all locked, and I was like, well, that's good.
We locked them with the liquor because you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
People
I would.
driving and
I would.
trashing.
Like casually, somebody.
I maintained that softball field for a lot of years, I would believe it, I know just what.
Sadly enough, no.
And you also, obviously, your guys have the combinations,
They do.
they do.
And we can change them if the combinations get out too far and they want.
But if ever somebody contacted somebody about, yeah,
Call me, I got him.
great.
Okay. It's new business. Anybody have any new business?
Gotcha, just, I heard something about Lake Mansfield, we had a lifeguard come to, the athletic center today looking for a job. And he's been
Direct to Joe.
a long time lifeguard at Lake Mansfield. And he said that, there's been an outsourcing of lifeguard services to a group of people that bring in foreign, like work visa people to do lifeguarding.
I'm not sure what you mean by that, but the lifeguard services have always been outsourced, as far as I can see. The last 2 years I've been here, they've outsourced. And it's done by, it's a request for proposals put out. And, they've been awarded off of that.
Okay.
It's not Berkshire South.
So,
They were outbid.
so,
So Berkshire South is not doing lifeguards this year?
Nope.
yourself was not a little better this year.
Are we gonna hear from them? When,
Who's doing?
USA Management out of Georgia.
At Georgia?
Mm-hmm.
Heck of a commute.
They do it across the country. There was 3 bidders on it.
We had 3 bids on Lake Mansfield and
Wow.
and Berkshire South was butt kicked by almost 20% on the lowest bid, which is what we have to do,
where are they sleeping?
wherever they want.
No, what we did is, clearly the same concern you have, so I interviewed them on the phone to make sure, because it's the lowest qualified bidder.
Right.
And they do this all over the country, they have regional offices, which they have set up, and they service the locations out of these regional offices. So we even took it a step further and we got 3 references from them that they worked for in the past. We checked the references and it all pans out.
And were the lifeguards certified through?
What's that?
How are lifeguards certified? Is it Red Cross?
Yeah, the Red Cross certification, they get quarry checked.
Bill, you could have hit me with a feather when they ever told, they said, Karen, we had 3 bids. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I would have loved to have known about that, just to look at it, had a conversation with that. I would have loved to have had a conversation with them
About what?
about lifeguarding. Yeah.
Well, the problem is, we're restricted by bidding laws as long as they're qualified. And when Joe told me, it's like, I want references, I wanna know these people have done this and that, you know, cause it was like new people in town. And they vetted these guys. So,
Just like any other public service that we do, whether it's a road or bridge or sidewalks, they go out to bid and, based on their qualifications.
and I would have
Yeah,
no
I'm saying-
problem him doing that, Joe. I would have no problem once you get this iced up. If Bill wants to chatty Cathy these people up, I don't see, I think that's great. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, just.
I don't think it's necessarily lifeguards that you want to talk to it.
You wanna talk to
I
management?
don't want to talk about that.
Yeah,
But
great.
the thing is, it's not gonna affect where we are. You know, we're already going down a path on this. It's like, okay, who are you? You're a park commissioner, now you wanna intervene on the bid documents and bid proposal?
No, that's, I don't want to separate it. And I don't mean.
Well, it's not saying on my toes, it's just like you would put the town in some, risky position if these people wanted to take some legal action for not awarding them the bid.
Sure. No, I was just, the only reason I'm bringing it up is I was just very surprised.
As we all were.
Yeah. So,
And it's the value of the contract is the reason why it has to go out.
sure.
And if it's under a certain amount of money, we don't have to go out.
Mhm.
And what, anything over $10,000, we're supposed to get 3 prices. Anything over $50,000, I think we have to go out to bid.
So this is a change from last year,
Correct.
and we didn't get any other proposals last year, is that?
None.
Interesting.
And is Berkshire South, able to counter bid,
No.
or they don't, everything's closed?
No, they have to be turned in, sealed bid, and they're open publicly.
I think part of the issue, and I know that this is not going over well. I can tell you that. But that we had 3, not one other, we had a total of 3. And there was a market difference, it was like $100 an hour less. Okay? I think that, this is a wake-up call for them, and I'm sure it's not pleasant. But I think it's important to understand also that we cut our parks budget by $30,000 total. I mean, everything had to come down. We got cut by the select board, finance committee. So, oh yeah, so this is,
This line item had $110,000 in it.
yeah,
Last year and this year it's gonna have $67,000.
right.
But
Boom.
we, as a committee, did look at the lifeguard hours when this proposal went out.
Right, so what you did is you guys provided me with the window that was
Framework.
down a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what was in the proposal.
And so does this low bid leave us with some money?
So. That line.
Money to do what?
I'm saying if we budgeted for a certain amount of money to go through
Yeah,
to cover the cost of the lifeguards based on history with Berkshire South,
right.
and this bid came in at 20% less, does that leave us with 20% in the budget for other things?
Yeah, well, we have to deal with Memorial Field.
Oh, I understand. I'm
So-
just wondering if
The
that's
short answer is
true.
yes.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does,
The question is yes.
but we also had our budget reduced by 30
I
cents. So
understand.
yes, your assessment is accurate.
Okay, great. Because one of the things that we, as a committee, talked about was needing to be really judicious with the hours that we were covering at Lake Mansfield to make sure that we were covering the ones that were most
Prime time.
prime time.
Yep.
I'm just wondering, both for this year and for the future, if this allows us to have more flexibility around those hours. Just wanted, I know the money's spent 700 times.
Yeah.
I'm aware of that.
Joe, does the contract specify what hours they have to have?
It
Well,
does.
So can what Alana's asking, if we decide to open it a few more weekends or an hour later at night, is that
Change
allowed?
order.
Is that flexible in the
Yeah, I
contract?
think we could do that.
Yeah,
I think if we, you know, if, at some point, you know, your baseline per hourly rate is like this, at some point it jumps because they have to add a person.
Yeah.
For minimum hours, but we have to determine where that is. It's just like any contract, you have a change order.
Yeah.
It says, hey, we want you to stay, we want you to come in at 11 instead of 12, because I think we talked 12 to 6 or something, something like that.
I just want to know where we have the ability to shift and change based on what we learn from the community, either this year or in the future. So I'm just trying to understand.
I think that should be part of the discussion with this vendor, is saying, look, this is our first dance with you guys. We may need some adaptation, we may need. to do-
some tweaking.
We need to tweak it. So I think that, and I think this is excellent information for him to have. Excellent. Go ahead.
So as somebody who's been a lifeguard pretty much since when I was a junior in high
A
school.
young person.
I don't, you know, it's like one of the nice things about going down to Lake Mansfield is, you know, it's local kids. You know, it's generally local kids and the people that are running it are local and there's, it's an opportunity for our kids to serve in a very valuable way, the people that in this community. And I'm not comfortable with bringing just a group of people in to, if that's what's gonna happen. It seems like that's what's gonna, like, how is this?
No, I think with their, now that we're working through the contract with them, I think what happens is when they see the commitment by the town, they will advertise and hire out of their regional office. They could hire Great Barrington people for all we know. So if you have young folks that want to apply for
Get 'em in
something,
there.
I can connect them with the people,
Yeah.
as soon as I know the operations people. We can connect them as possible candidates, because I think they're gonna run into the same problem that Berkshire South ran into. It's not easy to get people and train people,
Oh,
as well as all of us are know that.
He knows that better than anyone.
So, yes, I think, you know, if there's young people that, you know, are disappointed, they might be able to find employment through this new agency.
Right.
Can we plug that? Can that be part of your discussion? Is we've got some local bait we'd like to refer right now.
If you have that, give it to me and I'll have that.
There you go.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think, you know, any of the kids that were part of it last year and even the year before, you know,
reach out to them.
reach out to them and,
Reach out to everybody.
Yeah.
They didn't work for us, so I don't know who they are. They
Well,
work for
go through
us.
Berkshire, yeah, go through Berkshire, so I'm sure Janice can.
I wouldn't depend on her for much at this point. I think she's pretty pissed. So I think we're gonna need to find out. I know damn well, we've gotta have a payment record. We've gotta have a payroll record somewhere.
Remaining,
Well,
I think that may
How
be.
many years has Berkshire staff done it? Like,
I
forever,
think
years, all the years.
Yep, long time. Since
And
we
I gotta
started.
say, last year they did, the aquatics director who was there, I saw them doing training with the guards and it was like really good. It was great. They did a great job last year.
So, you know, again, you know, we vetted these people as far as we can, as far as checking references. It might not work out, you know, just like us with a contractor that does a bad job in a row, cross them off the list. Write them, you know, we kind of write them off, but they can still bid it, and we don't have to accept their bid because of the work they've done in the past. So if these guys knock it out of the park, they're more than welcome back. If we have problems with them and they can't keep it staffed, then we know we have issues with it. You know?
This goes out for RFP just because it exceeds the
Right,
threshold.
so the threshold, I think, for request for proposals is $50,000. All the bids came in under that number, mainly because we cut the hours, where in the past they were over that. So we cut the hours, so it brought the value of the contract down, but we didn't know that going in. All the evidence in the past and it pointed to over $50,000, so go out to bid. We would still have to get proposals and stuff like that.
But if next year, if we put in a budget for under 50,000, we could actually hand it over to.
Yeah.
Staff.
Well, yes and no. Yes and no. I think you gotta be careful there, because as soon as you add an hour, it goes over 50,000, something could happen.
Mhm.
So I think we have to be a little bit careful how we do
The procurement laws in the state are tricky.
it. Yeah, if you're trying to you know, find a different way to skin the cat here.
Right.
Be careful.
It's not-
It's not worth it.
Do the proposals, I'm sorry, this is I don't understand how this works, but do the proposals have a breakdown of costs?
So I can actually send you the bid form if you all want to see it.
Yes.
But basically what it did is there's three different categories. One was, the summer season, 6 days a week, or 7 days a week. Again, I'm calling from memory from like noon to 5 or noon to 6. And then after the kids go back to school until a certain point in time,
Weekend.
it's just weekends. And then because the fiscal year goes around till June 30th next year, it's the third category was up until June 30th of next year. So these people are on the hook through next year. So you break out as a separate category because they may need another $1 an hour to pay their staff because of pay increases next year.
I'm just also wondering if it is like, if it somehow gives us an indication of what they're paying staff and how much goes to administrative costs and training and that sort of thing. Do we get any of that information? I have this concern, like part of the reason why Berkshire South, the cost at Berkshire South costs that much is the cost of living and keeping staff and hiring staff in this community. I understand that they could not be successful and then next year we do it differently, but I think it makes sense for us to anticipate what kind of hurdles they're gonna have. I'm just,
Well, having bid a lot of jobs in my past history, sometimes you wonder, geez, why did that guy bid so low? He learns the lesson the first time around, the next time he's bidding up. So it could be a lesson.
But these people have been, the thing that got me is they've done this before in lots of different places.
but also we're talking about hiring local humans.
Right.
And I care that these local humans be taken care of, and are, find a job where they can stay in the community and.
Who's copies?
So I would love to see Berkshire South have gotten this, and I wish they had. I would love to see someone local have gotten it. But the bottom line is state procurement law, and we can talk about this all we want and kind of wring our hands and be upset, and I am. I would have loved to see them get it. But this is the way procurement laws work in Massachusetts, and you don't have a lot of choice. They have to prove by failure if their reference is put out.
Well, that's all well and good, Steve, but it's like it is like it's not like somebody driving a tractor or something like that. This is like people who are interacting with the public on a regular basis in a park that's like very different, that people are gonna be, that it's gonna take some PR to get people on board with what happened up there to begin with, because, it looks great, but it looks different, So we're introducing a new park at a time with brand new lifeguards, and we don't really know how they work, so it's just something we're all gonna have to keep our.
Yeah, I agree with you. We're not disagreeing. We're agreeing 100%. It's unfortunate. I would much rather see Berkshire South get that. They've done a good job. You attest to that. They're local people. They're people that I know and people that I like, but unfortunately, the state of Massachusetts, those are not any of the check boxes that we can use.
So can I just ask for us to be kept in the loop as much as is appropriate and just
Absolutely.
stay aware as best we can of this whole process?
Yeah, so, I kind of explained where we are right now. We actually have a draft contract into the company to review.
Okay.
And the next thing is that I'll come back signed. And, we'll wait till July 1st to execute it. You may have to do something so they could prepare before July 1, give them a letter of intent or something.
Okay.
And then we would move forward. Now, I think we all would like to see our young folks in town who want to be lifeguards and people being lifeguards, potentially be employed. So if you have that information, get it, I'll pass it on.
Sure.
There's nothing wrong with that.
And there's never a situation where the town can just, in the future, perhaps, put out like a call for individuals to get in touch directly with the town to apply for these positions, like individual contracts. Does it always have to be for a vendor? Like,
Yes.
Years ago, we hired lifeguards, right, Mr.
Yes.
Gibbons? And
Not now.
that we don't have the staff to do that. That's just so much work to do.
I think if we act as a repository, and we could say, if you're interested in being a lifeguard, please forward a resume to this, and then we ship it out, give it to Joe and let him ship it to the company, let him get to that vendor.
For know that if we do that, people are gonna say, well, why are you helping this vendor? You were,
That's true.
we didn't do it for anyone else.
Why wouldn't these guys do it themselves? Why wouldn't they?
That's what I'm
why wouldn't
saying,
they
exactly.
advertise in the shopper side and-
Yeah.
They were looking for the commitment from the town, which they were low bidder, and we're in the process of working on that commitment
Yeah.
now.
When will they start to come here?
July,
It's gonna be July first, so what happens for June?
the park isn't open.
Because of the
Because of the construction.
construction, it just so happens.
This year, we're lucky.
Yeah,
because
this year because everything was
So
shut
we're
down.
already covered with, if we engage the people and we're satisfied with them through this season, and, you know, their contract will carry them through next year, the 30th.
Regardless of what happens next year with the rebid.
Right, they've gotta
Let's
go
think
through June
about it.
30th, right?
If you were the person, you know, we're all competing for this lifeguarding, you know, subcontracting. Oh, okay, you have it till June 30th, but Steve starts it on July 1.
Right, because he underbid.
I mean, what do you do with your employees? It's, but that's our fiscal year,
Yeah,
you know, it's almost like we should do seasonal.
Yeah.
But it crosses 2 fiscal years. So it's.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. So Joe will keep us abreast. You are gonna send out the bid document?
I will,
Okay, great.
yeah, just, I mean,
Everybody wants a copy, right?
yes.
Yeah, please.
Okay, good.
Can I ask, what the update is on the Grove Street, but then.
We're gonna go through this. And then we'll get to that. That's the next level. Mr. Pratt. What do you wanna do, dear?
Hello all, Gary Pratt, Executive Director of Rural Recovery. We operate the South County Recovery Center, 67 State Road. We're seeking approval for our application for the semi-annual Smash the Stigma event here at Town Hall Park. So it's a family-friendly activity event with food trucks, family games, face painting, a march through town, generally 3 speakers, some light amplified music for the gazebo, just kind of background music. And a relatively large resource fair. We invite basically every human services agency you can think of in Berkshire County, especially those who provide services to people who are affected by substance use, and just have a big gathering. And we held it there in 2022 at Town Hall Park. 2019, we had it at the Memorial Park. And it was well attended both of those years. We got approval last year, but unfortunately we didn't have a rain date and it was a monsoon the day that we were supposed to have it. So we ended up having to cancel it. 2019 and 2022, I think we had around 300 people each at those events, and it was really well received. It's been a spectacular event. I think it's been extremely beneficial to Great Barrington and South Berkshire County as a whole to like really raise the awareness about the stigma that's attached to substance use and to be able to normalize that conversation and to, you know, just really, it's just beneficial to them.
Gary, have you been in touch with St. James Place?
No, I have not.
Okay, I would strongly suggest first, make sure that they don't have something scheduled for those 2 days, so you're not butting up against each other,
Okay,
okay?
I mean,
Only because they're both so
It's right
close.
next door.
yeah, I looked at the calendar, I specifically looked for the Latino Festival, which is.
Well, I'm not talking
Yeah,
about them. I'm talking about St. James Place.
Yeah.
Just make sure that I wanna know that that's not going head to head with another event there,
Okay,
okay? Any other questions?
And our
concerns?
park is available that date.
What?
The park is available that date.
I'm having a tough time determining it. I believe that it is open. Do we have an active link at that point? Or is Kathy Couch maintaining that, Joe, or what? We don't have anybody at this point. Is the new administrative staff with Matt Colmer gonna be doing that? Who's gonna be doing that?
there is administrative staff in the building inspector's office now. There were preliminary discussions that they would, it's just Mark and I haven't had a chance to talk about it yet.
I think we're at the point now with all the stuff that's going on, we've got to have an interactive, developmentally, I don't know what your plans are, but we definitely need that to happen. Carolyn, Witchman, can you hear me? I don't know.
She should be able to hear this one.
Yeah, my question is I don't, we gotta have some way to double check. I think I looked at it a couple of weeks ago and it was fine, but I think it should be all right.
We're looking at this now, they only go up to August. middle.
Right, it doesn't even show,
So there's no way to really tell.
Okay.
But for these guys next door,
yeah,
St. James, so there's not really.
I would just tell St. James.
I would just tell St. James what
that
they're doing.
They're having the event so that.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, just let them know.
some of
that's-
them, you know, what you do is a little noisy for their classical music, just so that they know, so. And it sounds like it's not online, that they haven't planned that far out yet, so
Yeah.
we're probably all good.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
But can I make a, very low tech proposal? In the meantime, until we have an interactive calendar, that we have a running list of approved events that just come along with our agenda each month?
Carolyn, I need a response. Hello?
I just, bastard on me.
Carolyn, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's great. So what we need is, as Alana's just asked, is there a way attached to the
Yes. I'll try.
events for the next 3 months that we have scheduled?
Okay,
Okay,
Not just for the next 3 weeks, but any event that we have approved. Anything that has come through the committee that we have approved, if we just had like a running,
okay,
Liz.
yep, can do that.
great.
okay, great.
Thanks, Carol.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
Welcome.
That's low tech. I like it. Nice job.
Okay, make a motion to approve rural recovery's request.
Okay.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying hi.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Just make sure you please check with St. James.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Casa Multicultural Silvana Proano for 8/3 or 8/10 from 11 to 4. Hi, how you
Hello,
doing?
good evening, everybody. Yes, so I would like to also request permission to use Google Park. It's my first time.
Who's sponsoring this?
Casa Multicultural is a nonprofit organization and I'm the founder of it. And this is through my almost 10 years of experience working in the social work and working with immigrant families.
How does this line up with the Latino Festival?
No, nothing to do with the Latino Festival. That's
Okay.
different.
And theirs is in September, right?
I believe so. It's always at the end of September. yes,
Okay.
yes.
Did you submit a liability policy with this?
Not yet, because I've been talking to Willard and Taylor
Yeah,
and so we're doing the paperwork and they will give me the estimate because I wanna purchase a day,
a day
just
policy.
1 day policy.
Yeah, yeah, I know it is.
And so they told me that, I will get the estimate value between $300, they say, in the next 2 weeks.
Okay,
And since the event is in August, we're shooting for the 10th. If it's available and possible.
Carolyn, can you hear me? Do we have anything scheduled at the gazebo on the 10th of August? You want it the 3rd or the 10th?
Well, I put those 2 days just because I didn't know how is the opening for the schedule. So if I can choose the date, I'll go by the 10th.
Thank you.
That's good.
Carolyn, is there
Yes,
anything
dear.
in Giggle, at the gazebo on the 10th of August?
I'm looking. I'm looking.
Okay, great. Can you tell us what you're gonna plan to do that day?
Yes, thank you. So it'll be a big family event, summer is here and now that we have so many immigrant families and the population is growing, I'm also working as a town liaison for Great Barrington. So I'm working also connecting with the immigrant population So I thought that this is a good excuse to make a family event. We will have food from around the world. We will have little performances with music or dance, activities for the kids, some yoga, the balloon man, you know.
Again,
just a family
Have you checked with St. James Place?
No, this is my first time doing an
Okay.
event like that. and
Before
I
you
really
do anything, before we go any further, you need to make sure that nothing else is scheduled that day.
Okay,
Because you said that,
Come.
are you agreeing with me?
Yeah, I just have a question.
Okay.
I'm not-
So I
The
would go to,
bandstand is doing, the Lee Rogers is doing concerts that day. But he's in the morning, right?
Well, so he's in the morning, does he have one
Yeah,
at
he's in
night?
the morning.
Yeah, that's the day we
ours
go.
will be from 11 to 4, you know.
On
family
Saturdays,
music.
he's from 10 to 11:30.
Okay, so it'd have to be noon time.
you'd have to start at noon,
Perfect,
but you need to check with
I will.
St. James
Yeah.
Place.
The other thing you need to get is you need to go to the health inspector and to the select board office to get an entertainment license and get everything certified through the health inspector.
Perfect, I'll do that, yes.
All right, here's another thing we need to do, I can tell. Because of this, we need to have some sort of access. Carolyn, I need a letter or an email to go to St. James Place telling them we need their calendar of events between now and the end of December or the end of November. So we have some idea, so we're not constantly doing this.
What's his name? Do you remember his name?
Fred and
Oh, Sally and Fred Harris?
Yes,
bingo.
Most of these events are next
I
door.
thought there was another person that did the events.
or what, I'm
They
sorry.
start after 4 o'clock.
Absolutely, you may be
So-
totally right. I want to know, I don't, because God knows, they have some madrigal singers that go at noon.
They also do weddings.
They do weddings, that's the other problem.
That won't even be on their calendar.
But
Does that mean we close the town park?
did
No.
something happen that made this come to
Yeah.
our attention?
Yes.
If we have a event of 300 people here, it's so close that they can hear it in there, and they really can't run an event at the same time, so we're trying to be good neighbors.
I understand. I'm just curious about how this has come about because it's never been.
It happened last year, we had a head, but the other problem is if you have 300 people coming here and there's an event for 250 people there, town gets nuts.
Well, and also the Mahawi, when the Mahawi is happening.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
that's why this calendar issue is gonna be critical, because we need to pull in St. James Place and the Mahawi.
It was my understanding that the Chamber of Commerce or someone was hosting a town-wide calendar of events. Anybody know about this?
You could be right, I just don't know about.
Okay, I'll do some research.
We definitely need to get where everybody can go look, because this is now getting to be,
There is, I think maybe it's the nonprofit center of the Berkshires that hosts a calendar because they're trying to keep galas on separate days and that sort of thing, but.
That'd be great.
It would be great to partner with somebody like that, you know, if they're
Well-
that motivated to do it, you know, one we.
Leah Toscanini would be the woman to check with.
Yep.
At Nonprofit Center of the Berkshires.
Yeah.
Okay,
That'd be ideal, take it off our plate too.
right, I would love to not have to, I mean, we need to maintain our own
Right.
calendar for our facilities, there's no question.
And the park usage fee doesn't kick in for rural recovery and this event yet.
Yeah, it has to be approved by the select board.
No, okay,
I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
Good.
Second,
based on them checking with St. James first,
Thank you.
and the liability insurance.
and we'll
I will do
approve
that.
with the
And the
liability.
select board,
and the select board.
and the Board of Health for food.
Second, with all those
Right,
contingencies.
you need to come back to us next month, okay?
Yeah,
With all that stuff dealt with, and that would be on June 17th,
perfect,
okay?
thank you,
Thank you.
thank
No,
you,
Let's
you.
vote.
thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstentions, unanimous, great.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
But yeah, I will be back next month. and-
Okay, that's great.
Thank
Terrific.
you very much.
East Street, are you here?
That lady just texted me, wasn't able to make the Zoom work, so she's on her way in, she'll be here in 10 minutes.
Great.
You can put that to the end.
Table
Um,
that until she gets here.
Muddy Brook. Where's Chris Infinity? Oh, I'll tell you what we've done with this. All right, so Kristen Finnerty wants to do a walkthrough on the trail. And she needed access to park the vehicles at Olympian Meadows. So I, without checking with you people, gave her the combination so she could park their vehicles there so they could go walk on the trail to make sure about erosion.
Where do they need accommodations? for?
Cause they can't, whatever, they wanted to park, whatever, close enough,
No, what is locked?
baseball fields. I thought the whole thing was locked. No, I thought the whole thing was locked, it's just the ball fields, that's, it was confusion. So she's all set, we don't need to deal with it, it's fine. What?
My third child, who is in her class, is the only human in my household that understands erosion.
Well, good.
She'll have 10 minutes at the next meeting, just explain it. to us.
Question. Are you gonna learn anything from your kid or what?
A lot from my kid.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something, I expect you to come back in June and tell us what the hell's going on.
Careful what you wish for.
Come on, babe, come on now.
You're gonna be on the agenda.
In Miss Finnerty's class, they are,
Of our sewer line?
I mean.
All right.
All right, so all she was looking for is to have Brian be able to go down
She
there
was
with the
wanting
school
to let
bus.
us know, so
Does that
that's
get,
School bus.
just out of curiosity, does that get locked at 8 o'clock at night or when the games are over, the front gate?
I
No,
don't think
Because
it
they
has
used to.
here.
I didn't know
They
if
used
did.
to.
No.
None of our parks, so they used to do that old mates too, but they.
Yeah,
don't.
no, I knew down there because they had trouble with cars going down there.
Yeah.
well, now the problem is, the only place they could cause a problem is the softball, the junior field.
On the soccer field.
Something to think about, between the minor league and the major league field where the snack shack is.
Yeah,
You know, cars can go into there and park around the soccer field or get up to the softball field. Do we wanna partition that off so cars can't go beyond that point?
Yeah,
But that's what we had.
didn't somebody go down there and do donuts?
See, they did.
But the other problem with that is, just correct me if I'm wrong, is there enough space down there, if there are a lot of events going on, to park the cars that would be down there without parking them down there?
Yeah, well, it means you couldn't park around the soccer field if there's a soccer event going on, which I'm sure they do.
they could go the other way around.
Yeah.
Is that
No,
buffeted
it's-
off?
It's got big blocks.
Behind the playground.
That's
I
all
remember
blocked
when we
off.
were laying out the.
I don't know,
soccer
I was down there on the trike tonight, so I gotta go down.
I mean, the last coach down there used to lock it at night, and the Mass Electric had a key, National Grid, just in case they had to get down there, but it used to get locked at night, but that wasn't always the most reliable.
But they were parking, I remember when we were first laying out the field last year, we were trying to get it done during Little League stuff and at the practice field. And people were, we were having people move cars, because they were going in past the shack and then parking all around, both the Little League fields, to watch from there,
I just see a lot of wear traffic in between those fields and
Yeah.
like, if you wanna try it, we can put some blocks there. And
Like bollards?
well, like those blocks that are between the parking area and the rail and the trail. You know, the little.
The big concrete block.
Yeah.
What's your pleasure, boys and girls?
Can we keep the cars, like, you have the fields here and the soccer field over here, we keep that just around the top of that, the north side of that, I guess that is?
You have the minor league field, the little league field. You have the playground and then the softball field. You can't get through here.
Right.
But you can get through here.
I know that.
So I'm saying, so put 3 or 4 blocks across there. No one can get out where your soccer field is and your other softball field.
We can't come around the either side, they can come around the other side. Well, maybe we can just put something on the other side and in the middle of that.
So you're talking about putting the blocks so that they can't drive right in front of the
Whoa.
snack shack. Yeah, which is a safety issue anyway, so.
That's it.
So the other side of that is, I agree, because there's little kids running all around, what if you need an ambulance down in the soccer field?
Yeah, can we put one in that just makes it obvious that cars are not supposed to go there, but if a car needed to get in there, they could?
They'll get through.
Fully parking over here, so how are they?
I like the thought, it ain't gonna happen.
But
There's a lot of people
is
driving in.
one better than none, nothing.
Yes, I was down there the other night and it was like a parking lot, and it was, and you're right.
Why,
little kids are running.
sit in their car and watch
Yes. Yes.
No, okay, so let's put.
No, but also because there's like 4 games going on at once. There's.
But to Steve's point, the furthest thing away is the girls' practice or the youth.
The junior softball.
Right, if the ambulance needed to get there, you're gonna pull a stretcher a couple hundred feet.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that.
And the soccer field, that's,
And so-
and old people like Norton play there, you need to get an ambulance down there.
I second it. Oh, no.
Alright, I think this is something, boys and girls, I think what we need to do is we need to be aware of it, and since Sir Debbie actually is gonna build an apartment down there, because she spends more time there than.
I don't know, I was just dropping someone off.
Yeah, instead of your office, that's where you're going. I think we need to be more aware of what's going on down there, and see if we can come up with some thoughts. I would like to also engage Mr. Brian and Mr. Steve, because they tend to think, and you, just if there's something we could do. Okay,
So we put a sign up or something to say no cars.
can we put something on that road about slow down, kids?
We could turn around and put some wooden barricades, like the sawhorse barricades up just to try it.
And then if we needed to move them for.
Alright, that's a good
Yeah, there
idea.
you go.
What can we do about the speed going down that hill and stuff?
Removable speed bumps.
Just like, wait a little longer, potholes.
Yeah.
So if you're dumb enough to go fast on that road.
You know,
Alright.
that is a narrow road, it's cars are leaving and coming at the same time.
It's not the problem, there's dogs and there's kids. Somebody's gonna get squished.
Could we put like, they do in Stockbridge, just a removable
No.
speed bump? Why?
These bumps aren't allowed in town, understood.
Is that right, Steve?
Years and years ago, they put them on Lake Mansfield Road. That caused such a problem. I don't know that it's not allowed, but it doesn't have a good connotation.
So they built a raised sidewalk instead.
It's a big issue because there's neighborhoods that ask. and
So look at
and
his
stuff
lot
like that.
during the day.
The fields are
People
locked,
drive that
not
fast,
the
and if
main
there's
gate.
one or two, it's like,
Okay.
let the cops
Each
get down there.
field,
and
the
get
3
tickets.
fields are locked
Okay,
with a
so
combo
people-
line.
They would have to
The
climb.
bad thing is there's no lead access to that property. Right now,
Yeah.
there's no other access or frontage you can get up to back on Route 7.
Right.
I mean, I looked at the deeds, thinking we could kind of come up with a way for an in and an out.
It's narrow as it is.
And it's narrow and there's people all right up. to-
There's no drainage at the roads, and to fix that road would be hundreds of thousands. Yeah, I know.
That's a good point too.
Okay, now that we've not solved that issue. Okay, E Street, what you need there, hon?
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Karen Lindhoven. I'm a Barrington native. But I've been away for more than 40 years, but I'm back, and community is very, very important to me. Now, East Street area has had neighborhood get-togethers in the past, but they've always been on private property. We no longer have available private property. So this past August, we did already have a block party at Park Street. And I don't know how that happened because I wasn't in charge of it, but we had a lovely time. About 30 people showed up. And it's a very quick thing. It's a block party where there's no entertainment, there's no alcohol. It's just kind of snacks and beverages from 3 to 5. And then cleanup would be like 5 to 6, and then the setup from 2 to 3. So that's why I'm asking for 2 to 6.
Is it on the road?
No,
No.
the Park Street Park,
Park Street Park.
The park.
In the park.
party in the
So we
park.
did it in the, right off of Quarry Street, right at the lower
Got it.
level.
Yeah, I got it.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
Make a motion to approve?
I'll
So,
second.
should we invite you all?
Yeah.
Of course,
Okay. all right.
if you have a party, always invite us,
Okay.
because we may show up.
Is this something that would she just get permitted for, or is it a town party?
Yeah.
Their own
But
neighbors?
No, Tom, she's just coming because somebody told me to, and I said, come and tell us, and it's
Tell us what
wonderful,
to
we'd
do.
love it. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions, you're done, goodbye,
Thank you.
Have a lot of fun.
Great idea.
nicely done, love it. Mr. Aberdale, I feel it is time for the updates, and don't forget Grove Street, go for it.
So Grove Street's, nothing's changed. We plan on working on it after Memorial Day. We're probably actually gonna steal a couple people from other departments within the DPW to make it happen. Need to know more? Okay. We have all the stuff, we have all the mulch, it's all here, it's just, we have our work cut out for us to get ready for Memorial Day.
By the way, has everybody here observed what this town looks like when you drive through it? Yeah, unbelievable.
His,
The
his,
crew has
his
done an
team.
incredible job, incredible.
Memorial Field, the target is for substantial completion is still Memorial Day. I think we're moving rather well, we, got our work cut out for us, and hope the weather stays good. Little League fields, I think there's one roof left to be done on one dugout. The rest of them are complete, once we get some nice summer heat, things dry out, good, we'll paint them. Stay in, make them look good, got some new signage for them. The note about general maintenance, we have the safety mulch to dress up all our parks, so that'll happen sometimes.
Joe, can you tell us how many cubic yards it is and how much you paid for it? People do not believe, I'm telling
I think we ordered a 100-yard trailer
you.
and, $5,200.
Yeah.
Something like that.
For mulch.
Yeah.
100-yard trailer.
Oh,
Imagine what.
Oh, I
that
know.
It's a special sale.
Not your household mulch.
is. No,
It's not. So, but, the bulk of that will be used at Grove Street, to establish the new area, and we'll just use it to freshen up the area. Touch it.
wonderful. Anything else? We good? Any other questions, concerns, or issues for Mr. Aberdeen?
Like that.
Yes, I was just wondering who the landscaper is at DPW, because he's doing a really nice job.
The landscaper was Matt Mazer. He was recently promoted to crew leader, so we're advertising within the department to see who's interested in taking it over. So Carolyn, that was just here, she actually worked with us last year on her own. She didn't even want to do senior work off. She just had some time and she helped us with the Main Street Gardens. So we're actually looking for a couple senior work off people to help us with Main Street Gardens this year.
He's a local person for that contract.
Anyone who wants to help.
Over 60 years old, you can earn up to $1,500 off your taxes. Yes,
So we got a couple of people that, we're always looking,
you're not there, Andy Joe.
Are you saying that senior?
No, I don't. It's right if I just.
Wow.
I think it's really, it's great if you have a volunteer group. They accept volunteers to just do meetings.
So
Absolutely.
Karen just volunteered her time. I think we worked her too hard last year, but she did a great job. She did a great job. Yeah. So what we try to do with the landscaper is we'll turn around and put a person with them when it's maintenance time, but when we have some big undertakings, we'll actually do it with the whole crew. So we have 4 big undertakings planned for this year. We have Stanley Park to redo that. We have in front of the Woodstock Community Center, the circle there, Belcher Square, and the new sports statue. So we're gonna redo those gardens this year.
Stanley Park Gardens.
So Stanley Park we're gonna clean that up a little bit. We had a $10,000 donation from one of the heirs.
His great granddaughter sent us some money to,
Cause you guys have cleaned up along the bank and we
Yep.
didn't finally see the who's.
Yeah.
And what Joe's not saying is the next 2 weeks leading to Memorial Day, he has lots of cemeteries that people expect to be pristine. And should be and will be right for Memorial Day.
right,
So besides the parks, he has all that to do and they all get done somehow. I'm never quite sure how, but. And then we never know what the weather, it could rain for 3 days before Memorial Day and.
We're starting early this week and next week as much as we can.
I think a lot of people in this community would actually be interested in knowing if they can volunteer for something like that. I know at least a few people, at least on tree committee would love to just do gardens like the barrel.
that's what you do, Julie, you just send them over to Dr. Joe.
I didn't even know that this existed.
Oh,
I think it should be like more widely,
If you like paint
marketed.
jail cells, we can always take some help with paint jail cells.
Yeah. Did he have to?
Yes.
You know, you can always volunteer, you don't have to get a tax write-off, you can just do it.
No, that's what I mean, like, I know
Suit
there
up
are
and
a lot
show
of
up.
people who like.
Well, we had some training when we used to take over the GB, the big GB at the other end of the town. We had some training from Mr. Gibbons.
On here, almost looks as good as when he did it.
Almost, not quite, not
They're
quite.
not quite there.
Want to put some more color in that. I just haven't figured out how without getting out of that.
So
I used to do it by hand, now they use the mechanized.
Yeah, the wimps, what can we say?
So around the tree well, like all volunteer work, since that, but
No, we still do it with the crew, which is Karen just, said some time last year, she wanted to help the community, so she volunteered.
Okay, great. Are you sitting here because you have nothing else to do?
Times to do, but this is very individual.
And it's citizen speak time. What would you like to say something? Good, all right.
Just an interested party.
Whatever, it's Monday night. What can I say? Commissioners, Sir Debbie.
I have one question,
Of course. Go ahead.
if I'm here.
I know you.
It's Joe, it's about the, in Housatonic, the playground, the park area. So now that the school's being renovated, we had to move the sand pile that was on that property and place it down on Meadow Street, or the end of Meadow Street. And, it's been pointed out to me by many people that it's kind of unsightly and they really don't like it there, and it kind of doesn't, detracts from the park, so I wonder if there's a way we can brainstorm to find another place to locate that in town somewhere.
We've had one complaint, that's all we've had.
Well,
And we're not gonna change the location for one complaint.
well, it's not just one complaint that you got, but it's a sentiment. All right, from,
Or would you like it up at your house? Yeah, where'd you
well,
like it?
actually, you saw my driveway, yeah, I have to get sand dumped up there for my house. Well, I don't know, it just seems like it's just a very, not an attractive, thing when we're trying to do so much, and the park is attractive right now. There's a lot of, a lot of plantings got done around the trees and stuff like that, and really pleased with it, but. Are you going just trying to think of.
I'm gonna bring it up.
I'm sorry,
I'm waiting for you.
If you have an idea, let us know, we'll consider it.
all right.
Excellent.
Joe, you had mentioned in our subcommittee meeting the other day, something with the dugouts at Memorial Field were
Outside.
too small.
Well, they were modeled after the 18-footers that were down at Olympia Meadows. And there was some concern from the leagues that used that they were too small.
The pad does look smaller.
It's being amended. It's gonna go out 6 feet.
All said it's being enlarged.
Okay, good.
We're straightening that issue out. Good, okay. Mr. Bannon?
I have nothing.
Mr.
I
Chair,
have nothing.
I just would like to, we had a situation that developed down in Olympian Meadows that was actually 8 days old. I found out about it today. And what happened is the soccer guys played on where the softball field was and left it rutted up because of all the rain and the mud. The problem was, now that I've spoken with Thomas and the guy, I heard this from April Hosker when I was at the school buying baskets, and I went and it is now fixed. They have gone and raked and cleaned it all up. And now what I've done is, the problem I didn't realize is the gentleman I spoke to first really didn't have a functional use of English. So now I have a second person who has a functional issue, and knows what's going on. So we've gotten it all straightened out, and they're now cleared up as to where the goals go, if they take the bases out, so that's all been straightened out, and I know that Mr. Gibbons also got an email. And I got photographs, but I dealt with that, I had to go down this afternoon and meet with them, so it's all fixed. The only thing I would ask that you and I take a quick drive at some point in the next week, go look at the circle, it needs to be recut. you know, there's a lot of invasion, the baselines, I think, could use some work.
This is the softball field.
Yeah,
The practice field.
no, it's not it's the junior field.
Yes, it's a junior.
Well, that's,
Yeah, it's another
It's the
one.
junior field.
It's the
The
one.
one, the one is
It's not
on the
one we
soccer.
just redid.
right.
No, it
By
is
the
not
way-
the one we redid.
Yeah.
It just needs a little attention. And now that the gentlemen understand how that field must be left, where the equipment must be left. And we seem to have everything else. So the one thing I asked the softball people is not to wait 8 days. I thought that it had happened yesterday, and it was actually a week ago.
So what happened as you were playing soccer, you just messed up the field a little bit?
I haven't been involved with any
The
soccer.
problem is it was wet, so you had. On the infield, there were ruts and footprints and everything else that dried out, so they ended up being, so they had to be physically raked out. I thought we were gonna have to get down to the rototiller, but we didn't, so.
Do we have lines on the, do we have a lined soccer field? Because if we put lines as a soccer field, then it would delineate where that is, and guys are not gonna be moving it's like,
We have line machines, they're down there, they're available, there's supplies there. So there's some.
If they wanna do it, they can do it. They're mowing, they brought their own mowers. They brought some rakes down today. They had a crew of 4 people. They responded very quickly to my issues, so I was very pleased.
I think one of the other problems, Joe, is that when they took the bases out
Yeah,
and then they covered the anchors off. So that it was a little bit of a problem to get.
Right, they had to find the anchors.
Covered so they could put the bases back in.
now they understand.
So,
Now, it was a communication issue, but now that we've clear and we walked through with the bases and put the goals out of the way and so it was just one of those 2-hour fun things you do.
Did that ever get laid out? I mean, but you were going to, when we had the meetings earlier in the year about laying out the 4 corners of it to so as you had, we had discussed, because
What if they got the basis down there as far as how do they?
non-coaching on the pathway.
No.
Well, I guess what I'm
Square
saying,
thing
I
that
had
goes-
it laid out,
It's a drought.
and of course, during the
Because
winter.
they make plastic
I
rubber
haven't been
plugs
back there
when you take the
to
bag out and
establish
they.
any of the corners of flag, so.
Nor have I eventually anything else.
Yeah, okay, so anything that's getting done down there has been done by the people who are using.
They're happy, they're ecstatic. They were very sorry that things didn't go well.
If you're communicating with them and they need access to the line machines,
I will
Yeah.
send a text this evening when I get home. If they want access to the line machines, I will let them know that.
Yeah, the
we
line.
want to see that, so that the softball field, I mean, we could set it up so that the softball field doesn't get
Used.
used like that. I mean, it's like we could separate everything out. I mean, it might shorten up the field a little bit, but
well,
not that long.
as big as they wanted to try to make the field, it was gonna encompass a good.
It's gonna encumber that, and I think now that, let's let them, they didn't play on Mother's Day. Let's let a couple of weeks go by and see, and I'm gonna be down there checking it, we'll see what's going on. If we need to, we can amend it, but I think that at this point, now that we're clear about what has to be done, and how it has to be left, and not only is it softball, but it could be using for football, so now the communication's clear. Any other comments, concerns, or issues? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
All in favor, bye.